Hey, Blade fans, what could it be on the table today? If I don't knock things over once again, none other than T.KELL knives. And this is a brand new presentation for me. I have not seen one of these before. Now, whether this is something being provided with each of Tim's knives or not, I don't know. And I'm sure that if he sees this, he'll chime in. But usually what I have seen are these, and I understand these are kind of compostable and eco-friendly cases. Feels like plastic, but these accordion things are usually what was well protecting the knives. And this is the first T.KELL I've seen in quite a while, even though it had come out over a year ago, back I think in early 2023. And it's a design by none other than Eric Outer, who is known for his YouTube channel, Outerlimitless. This is the Accomplice. We all need an accomplice in life. Quickly, I'll show you this. I don't like to do unboxings, but sometimes what's in the package is interesting. Here's a note from Tim, everybody, about using the knives. Be a little less dumb. Yeah, it applies to all of us, I think. And some nice wipes. First I've seen of this company, but I'm going to check into them because it's a preservative and a protectant for everything. And it is skin safe and no carcinogens. So it's possible you could use it on a knife that is engaged in food prep from time to time. Let's not waste any more time, but within the elastic bands here in this nice padded case, which by the way, you can hang from a backpack or whatnot, some kind of gear. And we've got mollies here as well, loops. And I've been finding out that if I don't put things far off the tabletop, they're still on the tabletop. Here it is. And this is the Accomplice. Let me do this the right way because nobody makes Kydex sheaths like Tim, honest to God. There are a few other companies that are, I'd say, equal, but nobody consistently makes Kydex sheaths like Tim. And thumb that off, baby. Thumb that off. And there it is. This is a real interesting shape. Down here, it looks like it wants to be a spear point with rounded edges, but we have a very thick stock. This happens to be AEBL, USA made, by the way, on all Tim's stuff, absolutely 100%. They are a hybrid manufacturer of some machine work as well as handwork. So these are CNC ground as far as I know. Then everything else is done by hand. These handles are also machined ahead. And this is an invention of Tim's, these lashing screws that you see where you can see straight through them. There it is. And you can lash your paracord onto whatever. Make a spear out of it in a survival situation. All that good stuff. These are what he calls, I think, his bullet grips. And this is simply a plain black one that looks like it is G10. It's not micarta, as far as I know. It's got some texturing on the surface. That's something new. And how does it fit in the hand? Well, it is perfectly a handful with about 3/4 of an inch sticking out from my medium-large hands. Not a particularly long blade, but just long enough. Look at that beautiful belly we've got going there. And all of Tim's knives are absolutely incredibly sharp and piercing. Oh man. I have not gotten what you'd call a dull T.KELL knife yet. Well, like I said, this was designed over a year ago from this December 2024 drop of the video. I finally got one. I had been asking for a while. I thank T.KELL Knives, Tim and his wife, whom we refer to as CW, and he does, camera wife. Somewhere along the line, I had an actual name, but we won't be too concerned about that now. She gets credit for all the live stuff, all the communications, all the social media interactions. Really, really great person, great people down in Georgia there. T.KELL and his wife, and all the folks that are working down there. Really appreciate the quality products you are bringing to the knife world. So as I said, look at that bevel, perfect bevel on this AEBL. These also come in 80CRV2 if you don't care about getting a stainless steel, but the AEBL is a very tough stainless steel. HRC, I'm not 100% sure on, but they are plenty hard. Tim is definitely on his game with regards to that, and all the satisfied customers can certainly verify that. There's Eric Outer's logo, Outerlimitless, kind of that tree with the spiked branches there. He's into everything outdoors, Eric is. Camping, outdoor survival, tool use, weapon use. And yes, with this clip on here, if it didn't have the clip, you would think this would be rounded down, but this is piercy for a tall, wide blade. Going to get into some measurements so we can get into lots of other stuff about this knife. It's not a large knife, but it ain't small either. It's 8 1/8, so we're going to call that 8.15 overall, with a blade, if we measure it right up here, of 3.8. My specs might be a bit off from Tim's, but I'm darn close using my little instruments here. Handle thickness in inches, 0.55. That's slim for a rugged knife like this. 0.16 inches on the blade stock, 4.1 millimeters. And I got little reflectors on the side here that if I touch them at all, they like to fall down. So here we go with the scale. Knife alone is a hefty 6.23 ounces. If we add the sheath, then all I'm going to do is just put that on the scale as well. There we go. We get 7.96 ounces. Okay, so about 1.5 ounces. We'll do it like this for the sheath. If it matters to you, not much to carry, 1.7 ounces on the sheath. That ain't nothing. All of Tim's blades, if you weren't aware, are nickel boron coated. That is something that he didn't develop nickel boron, but he certainly is a pioneer in using it on blades. What it does is increase the hardness of the surface up to Rockwell 70, as far as I know, and it is super slick and obviously forms a rust-resistant coating. So when it's on like 80 CRV2, the only thing you're really going to need to worry about is the edge. All coatings wear in time, but this is hard stuff and should hold up a good long time, depending upon the use of the knife. Mileage may vary, as we like to say in cars and knives. This is going to be a real go-to knife, and I'm going to put it to some use. I just see this thing as being super useful for outdoors, camping, EDC. It's small enough that you can carry it with you, similar to the Agent series, but I like the fact that it's got a bit more handle and tallness, and a lot more tallness or width and blade. Now here's the FMF. This is the Frogman Tactical. Previous to this, this has been my go-to knife. It's a little on the large size, with a blade on this guy of like 5.5 inches, with an overall of like 10.5 inches. So significantly larger than the Accomplice. But oh, that Bowie style blade with that nasty tip and plenty of thickness on that tip, as we have here too. Look at that. That is not a fine point, but that is a darn useful point. You could pry with that. I'm not going to say that Tim says, oh yeah, pry with your knife, use it for a screwdriver. But in a pinch, these are all tools. They're tools first and knives second, I would say. Compared to, I'm going to show you a bunch of other TKELLs. One of my absolute favorite defensive knives and EDC knives, collaboration between Bob the Knife Junkie DeMarco and T.KELL, is the Agent 001, the very first. We're up now to Agent 007 with Tomas Alas designing that wicked, wicked Tonto knife with the elongated point. It's just crazy. Can't wait to get my hands on one of those for some review and testing. But you can see, if we take the FMF out, Frogman Tactical, and put this guy in, that comparatively, the Accomplice is about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch longer, longer blade, handles about the same. Nice thing about this is we've got a full-size handle on the Agent 001, and the Agent series are all the same handles with different blades. That is a cool thing. So no matter what Agent you get, you're dealing with the same handle. This beautiful bird's beak, Filipino-inspired handle with the hook here that lets you pull it out of the sheath and cap it, put it in TKELL. Beautiful for TKELL because we got a double edge on this guy. Now I've got the Agent 02 and 03, but I'm not going to bring those out at this time. I think this is perfectly representative of that series of blades. So I'm going to take the Frogman Tactical out for a while. By the way, Frogman Tactical has this really nice setup in the sheath with a tensioner here. You can crank that down, so if you're doing some real energetic stuff with this knife on your belt, it ain't going to come out. You can lock it right in, and you can easily release it or make it just really hard to pull out. Right now, I've got it tensioned perfectly the way I want it. So let's leave the Accomplice out there, talk a little more about it, and then I'm going to bring out some other knives for a compare. I've got quite a few today from not only Tim's company, but a few others, and some have been recently reviewed. So as I said, we got the lashing screws. We've got kind of a rounded pommel on this, so we have no bird's beak. That's fine. But this also allows you many different grips. James Williams, if you've seen a lot of his videos, uses his Osiraku style Tontos in this fashion because everybody's worried about their hand slipping forward on the blade as though you're hitting a concrete wall. If this is used in a defensive sort of a fashion, then you really don't need to worry about slippage. You've got a bit of a guard built in here. And if you have a firm grip on a knife, you can try this with a screwdriver. Somebody mentioned that recently. Try it with a screwdriver and hit something hard and see if your hand slides up on that. In most circumstances, even when the hand's a bit wet, you're not going to slide to the degree that you think you are and come up on the blade and so forth. Speaking of the blade, we got a nice little sharpening choil in there behind or ahead of the guard. Plunge grind comes down behind that somewhat. And I haven't really found too many people complaining, if any, about sharpening TKELL knives with the way they're set up. And how often you'll need to sharpen it really is going to depend on your use and the type of edge you want to put on it. Now, let's bring out a company I would say is competitive. Nothing wrong with that, with T.KELL. And we have on the table auxiliary manufacturing. This one dropped recently. This is the coffin handle series of his pocket Bowie, and this is the XL. So I wouldn't really call this pocket. It is a handle heavy knife, nothing particularly wrong with that, but 3/16 stock on this guy. So a thicker stock, as you can see. Now, I don't know that the stock needed to be that thick. We're pretty close, right? We're pretty close. I'm not going to go crazy with measuring back and forth here. But yeah, 4.1 millimeters is what I said. And 4.8, no, almost 5 millimeters, 4.8 on the Pocket Bowie Coffin Handle XL. I brought it out because it's roughly the same size, as you can see. It's just a bit longer and obviously a different profile to the blade with that slight Persian upsweep. Call it a Bowie or not, that is your preference. Handle's about the same length, and again, the blade about maybe half an inch longer on the Pocket Bowie XL. A devastating defensive knife for sure. And Michael Jarvis, who runs and has really started auxiliary manufacturing in Reno, Nevada, hand grinds his blades. So the difference being here, we've got a CNC ground blade, as far as I know, on the T.KELL. We've got a hand ground blade with Michael, and look how perfect his grinds are. He does extraordinary work. You can't go wrong with either one. I do tend to like Tim's sheaths just a little bit better. You can argue that point. Again, I'm not trying to create a competition here, but competition amongst U.S. manufacturers, makers, that's a great thing, because that means we're going to have more activity in the U.S. and a little more reliant on our own artisans and production. Here's one that's a commercial knife. It is by Artisan. It's darn hard to get out of the sheath. This is the Reckart, bigger knife, but it's the only one I could find with kind of a, the same sort of profile, at least on the cutting edge. And this is probably, if they didn't clip it here, this is what you'd see on the top edge of the Accomplice. And that's the Reckart, again, W-R-E-C-K-H-A-R-T, I believe is how it's spelled. Nice knife. I mean, these are only going for about 60, 70 bucks, I think. This is going to run you about $3 as far as I know, somewhere in the 250 to 300 range. It's worth every dime if you are really depending upon your knife. What else have we got on the side here? If I can compare with a Bastinelli Red V2, and it's a Tonto-esque kind of a blade, but about the same size and can very well be used for EDC chores, as well as obviously tactical and defensive work. There's a review on this one if you needed to know more about it. But again, this is a commercial offering, and I think these are coming in somewhere in the 150 to 200 range. Not sure. I like the fact that they have a short run of teeth. Now, along the lines of the Agent series, I am currently collaborating with Tim. It's taken a little while because he's got a lot of projects out there. I am collaborating with Tim on the Agent 008, and I'm not going to divulge what that will be, but it will have this style handle, and it will be part of the Agent series. It's the next one in line after the 007 by Tomas Alas. Okay, what else have we got that we can show you here? Well, got to show you one more, show you two more customs. Here is the Hogtooth Nova 1 designed by Bob DeMarco and made by Matt, and the last name, I'm so sorry, escapes me at the moment. Hard to remember everybody's name and every knife name and style. But another really useful but smaller EDC / tactical knife. Look at that wicked recurve on that knife, 154 cm. I think it's Matt Chase, okay? Matt Chase. So hogtooth knives. Made in, I believe, Pennsylvania. And Bob, if you're watching, you can correct me on that. Gorgeous knife. And one of my favorite custom makers, can't leave without showing you something by Blackrock Knives. Ken Vehicate is the maker, fully custom made knife, known for his rock pattern on the handles and on the blades. I put this in there because it's kind of a similar size and a similar function. Once again, kind of a dual function. There's your clip, kind of an abrupt clip. And there is that nasty point and a large belly. And I believe this may be 80 CRV2. Sorry, don't have it up in front of me at the moment. Look at the rock pattern he puts on the back there too. And this jimping, large jimping that's actually easy on the thumb, but very useful. Gorgeous handle. Very, I mean, his knives are artistic, they're tactical, and they are certainly collectible. That, again, is Blackrock Knives, Ken Vehicate out in Indiana. Lovely knife. What does he call this one? What does he call this one? Got to tell you that, right? The Vandal. The Vandal. And you can ask for that to be made for you, but Ken seldom stocks very many blades. Occasionally you'll see him on Instagram saying, I've got 2 of these or 1 of these up for sale. And if you don't grab it within like minutes, it's gone. Oh, wrong sheath. Cool sheath on Ken's knife. That's multicam. He makes excellent sheaths as well. I mean, his sheaths are thick kydex and perfect tension. Well, there we go. There is the sheath, beautiful sheath by Tim. Sorry, Tim. And the Accomplice, designed by Eric Outerlimitless. Just, if you were to pick one T.KELL knife, you didn't want it to be too large. You wanted it to be carryable. You wanted it to be darn durable. You had also in mind the fact that you wanted to use that knife tactically. I mean, it's just works in the hand so well. Balance, by the way, where's the balance? Right where it should be, right on that screw. Look at that. That's not by accident. There it is. The Accomplice. T.KELL knives, designed by Eric Outer. Put your order in. It does take a while once you put your order in for Tim to get the knives to you. It could be 3 to 6 months, I understand. I know that the 007s are running 3 to 6 months once you put your pre-order in. So don't be disappointed. When you get your knife, you will be so happy. OG Blades, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that logo right there, right now. And I'm sure you'll like this video. Be well, take care, stay safe.